congrats on the win. How rewarding is it for you to get to sort of be in those moments where, whether it be Mackay or Caleb, they're just celebrated by the Virginia Tech fan base for their efforts and what they've done for this program?
Yeah, that's special, obviously. Those moments don't come around every year. Hopefully they start coming around every year. But, that's to accomplish what both those guys accomplished and then have an opportunity to kind of get, etched in history at Virginia Tech and your name in the rafters and have the fans be a part of that experience, I think it's really cool. For me, just being there and kind of having a courtside seat to watch those guys do what they did, and then to be with them through that process and knowing them from the time they were in high school, and kind of seeing how they evolved as people, as wrestlers, the adversity they had to face and overcome to accomplish that is really probably the most rewarding thing. So happy, obviously, for Caleb, and but he's still hungry to accomplish a lot more. He wants to add to that.
And then you got two young wrestlers in the lineup in Jimmy Mullen and Rafael. How big is it to see them pick up wins against a power team like Missouri?
It was good. I think just to be able to handle, keep their composure and handle that environment and wrestling for the first time. I think Jimmy wrestled once last year in Castle, but it was a completely different environment against a completely different opponent. So for them to be able to go out there and handle that and compete the way they did, I thought that was really good. I thought they showed a lot of composure, and that's critically important in our sport. Is you've got to be able to go out there and stay calm regardless of the situation. I think a lot of our guys did that tonight, and I think it allowed us to win some tight matches and some close matches, because we our poise was good. We were able to stay focused the entire time. We were able to wrestle for 7 minutes. All the things that we've been kind of talking about in practice. So, yes, it was good. Those guys, that redshirt freshman class that we have, I think is really special, with Sonny Sasso and Mac Church and Raf and Jimmy. Those guys have a chance to be really good, and I think they're going to kind of be the next wave of great Hokie wrestlers here in the very near future.
Rafa, I know you already mentioned a little about him, but he's been on a tear to start the season. I think the major decision tonight's one of his tightest victories, which is kind of a crazy statement to say. What have you liked about his growth and development into this second season?
Yeah, I think as much as anything, I think Raf, he when he came to school at Virginia Tech, it was different for him than it was for a lot of kids, just culturally, language-wise, being away from his family for the first time. So I think last year it was a great opportunity that he could redshirt and just adjust in a lot of those other areas, that you really don't think about. So that's, he's incredibly talented, and it was easy to see early on when he got here how good he could potentially be as a wrestler. But he's really grown in those areas and just, starting to understand what it takes to be successful, both inside the wrestling room and then outside the wrestling room as well. And in the rest of his life and in school, academically, right? And all of those other things that go into being a really good wrestler. So there's been a ton of growth with him. He's really bought in. Like he's incredibly excited about the sport of wrestling right now. And I think he realizes how good he can be. And he's really just his discipline, his work ethic. He works with Caleb a lot. He's learned a lot. Caleb's kind of taken him under his wing. They're great workout partners, and I think he's learning a lot just by being around Caleb. So yeah, it's special, and he's still young. And the great thing is the guys are freshmen. So whenever you have young guys that are going to be in your program for 4 years, that's pretty exciting.
And Jimmy, obviously I know last year he was doing a little bit both wrestling and football. Now I know this year it seems like he's been all in on the wrestling front and not having that split. What have you seen him making that jump from first year learning the ropes of collegiate wrestling to now the success he had obviously last weekend winning the Mountaineer Invitational and now tonight with the victory over a top 20 opponent?
Well, I think for Jimmy, and even a certain degree, he's like Raf a little bit in a sense where they never really wrestled year round. So for Jimmy, he went to the NCAA championships last year. He came back immediately and said he wasn't playing football. And I think think from that time till now, this is the longest stretch of time that he's just dedicated solely to the sport of wrestling, and we've seen a lot of growth because of that. You know, Jimmy's an unbelievable athlete. He's big and strong and physical and explosive, but he still has a lot to learn in the sport of wrestling. So you know, that's been the great part about Jimmy. I think the growth there, and he's you know, he's one of those guys that he's got a magnetic personality. He does a lot for our team. In addition to winning wrestling matches, he's just the kind of kid that you want to have in your program, on your team. Like, you know, he's been an incredible recruiter for us. So, yeah, you know, it's great to see him go out there and have some success tonight and, you know, figure out a way to win that match. I think you know, the next step for him is to learn how to distance himself and continue to score points and you know, not make it that close.
And Andy Smith as well, you know, you guys had that big lead, Mizzou tied it up, and then Andy grinded it out there at the end with to kind of seal the deal. What does that say about his toughness and mentality, the way it seems like in big moments, again and again, Andy steps up and delivers a victory?
And, you know, I mean, anybody that's familiar with Andy or that's, you know, familiar with Christiansburg wrestling or Virginia Tech wrestling knows that, you know, the one thing you can never question is Andy's, you know, his toughness. His effort is always going to be really, really good. He got really tired tonight, and he came off the mat. I know, you know, that third period wasn't the typical Andy Smith. Credit to Sinclair, who's really going to be a really good wrestler. That kid's, you know, he's got something for sure. So, you know, Andy was frustrated with himself, but, you know, sometimes you've got to win those matches, and it's not always going to be pretty. And I thought he did a good job. I thought he could have poured it on. You know, he kind of he had the momentum going in the third period, had a great second period, and for whatever reason, kind of took his foot off the gas and let the guy back in the match, and then the momentum swung the other way. Fortunately, he was able to hang on at the end, but that's not really the way you want to win matches. But yeah, you know, Andy's somebody we know we can count on as a coach. You know, when you sit down in his corner, you know the effort that you're going to get, and you never feel bad about that.
You know, you guys did a little video with Vitor Belfort to help market this match a little bit. What's it like having him be able to be around a guy like that who's had all the success in MMA? Just be able to be around this program and have interest in the guys in your room.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, the guy's a legend, obviously, wrestling, and there's a lot of crossover with wrestling and MMA, and obviously all of our guys know who he is. Actually, his son, who's plays quarterback here, has gotten to be close with a lot of our friends, and Ethan has kind of orchestrated a lot of that and become friends with Vitor, and yeah, it's cool, man. I think, you know, when he's in the room and he's around, he comes up every time he's in town. So he obviously likes wrestling a lot and has a lot of respect for the sport of wrestling. So, you know, it's been pretty neat getting to know him, and he's got a lot of things that he can teach our guys. You know, even if it's not wrestling, he'll come up and he'll stay up there for 3 hours in our wrestling room, train with our guys, and, you know, do a lot of different things. So yeah, that's been really cool.
What preparations do you think are needed to secure a victory next week against ranked 20 Rutgers?
So Rutgers has a good team. You know, Rutgers dual meet we've got to be ready to go, 100%. And they're gonna come in here, and this is important to them for sure. And they've got a really solid team. I really think they're underranked. I think they should be ranked higher than they are. So we've got to make sure that we just, you know, you can't make a big deal out of this, like, right? We have to just get back to work, and, you know, it's just like when we won it against Chattanooga. It's great, we won, you know, we beat a good team. I thought more than anything, it's just about evaluating how we're wrestling and how we're competing, and the process of getting better throughout the course of the season. So regardless of what happened tonight, you know, we just like anything else, you have to get back to work, and you have to be ready to go. You know, we have to understand that Rutgers is going to come in here, and it's going to be really important to them, so it's got to be really important to us.
You've hit on some of the youth. How important has it been to get the leadership from guys like Sam Latona, like your transfers with Connor McGonigal and Lennox Wolak?
Yeah, obviously that's always important. I think as much as anything, they teach those guys how to live their lives the right way, and that in our sport is so important. And, you know, making good decisions outside of the wrestling room, and, you know, just growing as people. And I think it's really it's impacted guys like Sonny Sasso a lot. And Sonny is really and he wrestled great. He's a little dinged up right now, but I think he'll be back soon. Nothing too serious, but that kind of leadership is important for those guys, not only in wrestling but just in life. This isn't just about wrestling for us and for our guys. So, Caleb has really grown into a great leader too. Has become a lot more vocal. He has so much to offer, in the wrestling room, technically, from a training standpoint. How he approaches things mentally. So, I think all good programs have that, and once it's built, those guys more or less become an extension of your coaching staff.
I know this is unrelated directly to this match tonight, but since you have Sonny on your team, seeing Sammy Sasso after all he's been through, how great of a moment was that for the wrestling world to see him back competing?
I think it was really inspiring. I watched that last night, and it was a really cool moment. I think if you would have told us a year ago that he would have been out there scrapping the way he was, I don't think a lot of people would have necessarily believed that. So, fortunately for us, we have a relationship, and I have a relationship with Sammy, and I've known Sammy for a long time. We recruited him hard. Obviously know his parents really well and the family, and if you know him though, you wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's just the kind of kid he is. So kudos to him. We wish him nothing but the best of luck. He's an impressive kid in the way that he competes and the toughness that he has.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony.